I didn't become a surrogate mother for an easy life. I did it for money, but not for greed. I did it because at home I had a brother who was sick, disabled, and slowly fading in front of our eyes. My mother was alone with him. Every day was a struggle, lifting him, feeding him, cleaning him, pretending to be strong when I could see how tired she was. The doctors said he needed surgery, expensive surgery, the kind of money we could never save in years. I had no job. I had dropped out of college because I couldn't afford it anymore, and honestly, because I hated myself for sitting in class while my family was drowning. I felt useless. Then, out of nowhere, distant relatives appeared in our lives. They came one evening, nervous, sitting on the edge of their chairs. The woman kept twisting a handkerchief in her hands, her eyes red. "We've tried for years," she whispered. "Doctors, treatments, nothing works. We can't have a child." Her husband looked at me and said quietly, "You're our own blood. We trust only you. Please, help us." I remember how my heart started pounding. I already knew what they were asking before they said it. "We're scared of clinics," the woman went on, "of strangers, but with you, we'd know everything is honest, that the baby is safe." I wanted to say no. God, I really did. The idea terrified me, carrying someone else's child, giving birth, and then letting go. It felt unnatural, impossible. "I can't," I said at first, my voice shaking. "What if something goes wrong? What if I get attached?" They looked at me like people who had reached the last door and found it locked. "We'll take care of you," he said. "We'll pay, more than you could earn anywhere else. Think about your family." That night, I couldn't sleep. I stared at the ceiling, listening to my brother's labored breathing from the next room, my mother's quiet steps as she checked on him. Where else could I get that kind of money? How else could I save him? In the morning, I told my mother. She cried. "I don't want this for you," she said, holding my face. "You're still a child yourself." "But what choice do we have? If this can help him, I'll do it." So I agreed. The first attempt worked. When the test showed 2 lines, my hands were shaking. "I'm pregnant," I told them on the phone. The woman burst into tears. Thank you. You have no idea what you've given us." The pregnancy went smoothly. No complications, no pathologies. Every month they paid me as promised, and every time I sent the money straight to my mother for medicines and savings for the surgery. They came with me to checkups. The woman would gently touch my belly and smile. "Hello, my little one," she'd whisper. "Mommy is waiting for you." And I would stand there silent, reminding myself, not my baby, not my baby. But at night, when the house was quiet, I'd lie in bed with my hands on my stomach, feeling the tiny kicks. "Just stay strong," I'd murmur. "We both have a job to do." Sometimes fear would crash over me. "What if I can't give him up?" I confessed once. The man answered calmly, "You're brave, braver than we'll ever be. We'll never forget what you're doing." By the time my belly grew heavy and my back ached, I almost made peace with it. I told myself this was only a road I had to walk, not a place to stay. The day of the birth came. The hospital smelled of antiseptic and anxiety. My mother held my hand until they took me in. "You're strong," she said, her eyes full of tears. "Whatever happens, I'm proud of you." Labor was long, painful, but calm. No panic, no chaos, just waves of pain and nurses telling me to breathe. When I heard the baby cry, sharp and alive, my heart broke and healed at the same time. Yes, I kept telling myself, the baby isn't mine. I'm just carrying her. That thought was the only way I survived the months. But after the birth, a real nightmare began. I remember when they brought the baby into the room. A nurse smiled and said softly, "Here she is." She, a girl, pink, healthy, round-cheeked, screaming at the top of her lungs, full of life. Her cry filled the room, sharp and strong, like she was announcing herself to the world. For months, the ultrasounds hadn't shown her gender clearly. Everyone was sure it would be a boy. They talked about their son, chose a boy's name, bought blue clothes. I was still lying there, broken, trembling, barely able to move, when the door opened and her mother walked in, that same distant relative. She didn't smile. She didn't come closer. She didn't even look at me at first. Her eyes went straight to the baby. Then she said, cold and fast, as if talking about a thing, not a human being, "I'm sorry, but we don't need her. We were waiting for a boy." And she turned around and left, just like that. For a second, I didn't even understand what I had heard. I lay there staring at the tiny bundle in the crib. Don't need her? How can you not need her? She's alive. She's breathing. She's your child. Beautiful, healthy. My throat closed. My heart started pounding so hard it hurt. "Wait, what?" I whispered, but the door was already shut. The baby cried, and every sound went straight through me. That night, I didn't sleep. I watched her tiny chest rise and fall, rise and fall. I felt like if I closed my eyes, she might disappear. In the morning, a doctor came into the room. He looked tired. He sighed before speaking. "I'm very sorry," he said gently. "Your relatives have officially refused the child. You've given birth to an orphan." I stared at him, not understanding. "An orphan?" My voice sounded chujoi, even to me. "That's impossible. They begged me. They waited for this baby for years." The doctor avoided my eyes. "You know how it is," he said quietly. "They wanted a boy. A girl doesn't fit their plans." Something inside my head turned upside down. "A girl doesn't fit?" I repeated. "Are you saying this is normal? To throw away a child because she's the wrong gender?" He didn't answer. There was nothing he could say. I looked at the little girl again. She had finally fallen asleep, her tiny fist pressed against her cheek, her lips still trembling from crying. My chest burned. "She's not mine," I reminded myself. "I was just carrying her." But my heart didn't listen. I reached out and touched her hand. Her fingers closed around mine, so small, so trusting. And in that moment, everything I had built inside myself, all those walls, all those rules, collapsed. "How can we do this to you?" I whispered. "How can anyone do this?" Tears ran down my face and dripped onto the hospital sheet. I felt anger, rage, pain, and something else, something terrifying, a feeling that I didn't want to leave her alone in this world. They said I had given birth to an orphan, but as I looked at her, lying there, abandoned before she had even learned to open her eyes, I knew one thing: no child should start life like this. And I didn't know yet what I would do, but I knew I couldn't just walk away. Is a child a thing? Something you can order? "A boy, please. And if it turns out to be a girl, return her like a mistake?" I sat there in the dim hospital room, holding her in my arms, staring at her tiny face. Her nose was so small, her lips soft and pink. She was beautiful, so sweet, asleep, breathing quietly, as if the world had already tried to reject her. And in that moment, everything inside me broke. I was supposed to be just a surrogate. From the beginning, it was about the money, nothing more. I carried her because my family needed it, because my younger brother needed surgery and we had no other way to pay for it, because at home there was only my mother, my brother, and constant fear of tomorrow. But for 9 months she had lived inside me, under my heart. I felt every kick, every flutter. I spoke to her when I was alone. I whispered that everything would be fine, even when I wasn't sure myself. And now they were telling me she was wrong. "She's a girl," the coordinator said coldly, flipping through papers. "The clients wanted a boy. They refused to take her." "Refuse?" I repeated, my voice shaking. "Like, refuse a package?" She avoided my eyes. "She'll be transferred to an orphanage. The documents are already prepared." An orphanage? I looked down at the baby again. She stirred slightly, sighed, and kept sleeping, her tiny fist wrapped around my finger. She didn't do anything wrong. She's not guilty of being a girl. Tears blurred my vision. I can't give her away. The thought came suddenly, fiercely, like a scream inside my chest. I was terrified. I had no job, no money, no clear future. The surrogacy payment was gone with their refusal. At home, my mother was already exhausted, trying to hold everything together. My brother needed surgery we still couldn't afford. And now I was thinking about taking on a baby? But my heart didn't listen to fear. "She's mine," something inside me whispered. "You gave her life. You are responsible for her." The doctor entered quietly and saw me crying. "Are you all right?" she asked. I looked up at her. "They don't want her." She sighed. "I'm sorry, it happens." I clenched my jaw. What if I keep her?" The doctor froze. "You mean adopt her yourself?" I nodded, my hands trembling around the tiny body. "I can't let her go to an orphanage." She studied me like I had lost my mind. "Do you even understand what you're saying?" she asked sharply. "This is responsibility for your entire life. No contracts, no support, just you and the child." "I understand," I said quietly. "If I gave her life, then I'm responsible for it." Silence filled the room. The baby made a soft sound, and I pressed her closer to my chest. "You have no job, no guaranteed income. You don't know what will happen tomorrow." "I know. I'm scared, but I won't forgive myself if I leave her." For a long moment, she said nothing. Then her expression softened. "All right," she finally said. "If you're sure, we'll start the paperwork." When she left, I kissed my daughter's forehead for the first time. "My little girl, I don't know how, but we'll manage. I promise." I signed the documents with shaking hands. Each signature felt like stepping into darkness without knowing where the ground was. But inside that darkness, I felt one small, bright light. Her. Now she was officially mine. That night, alone in the ward, I watched her sleep and asked myself, would you really take a child when you have nothing? No job, no money, no idea what comes next? I was terrified, but for the first time in my life, I also felt certain. "Yes," I whispered into the quiet room. "Yes, I would, because she is my daughter."